In the cool, crisp world of science, people in white coats toil without ceasing to bring us a better understanding of deoxyribose nucleic acid, or DNA.
The trouble with science on the telly is it's so serious. What if it was more fun?
Some folks are short, some folks are tall, some folks don't have much hair at all. Two things that make this happen, it seems. First there's food and then there's genes. Oh, eating for your epigenes, you'll be the best you've ever been. You may not think that it's true, but you can eat your way to a healthy gut. The idea of the song was for the McDermott Young Scientist of the Year Awards, and I had done my research. I've done it a few times now and never been particularly successful, but I discovered that no one had previously done an audio track, so I thought it would be good as a point of difference to do an audio track, and so I thought a song was, more interesting as audio. So that was sort of where the idea started, and then I discovered that they no longer accepted just audio. You had to do a video, so having written the song and recorded it, I then had to quickly hash together a video. Some folks are short, some folks are tall, some folks don't have much hair at all. Two things that make this happen, it seems. Well, first there's food and then there's genes. Now genes are kind of like a plan to decide whether you're a woman or a man. Then they interact with food, you see, to decide what kind of man or woman you'll be. So epigenetics essentially means on genes. So we all have DNA, and that is made of genes, and the genes control pretty much everything that happens in our body. And there's another layer of control on top of that, which is called epigenetics, and that makes subtle changes to the DNA without actually changing the gene sequence. And that can essentially turn genes on and off. DNA makes the genes behave in a different way, like lots of switches, and what's really neat to turn genes on or off depends on what genes we eat. There's DNA methylation. What we're hoping is if we understand a bit about your DNA in particular, then we would give you the right foods and you would eat them and they would make you feel better. So what we're using is Crohn's disease and inflammatory bowel disease, and that's basically our model to show how these things work. So what we want to know is, can we find foods that will make people who have Crohn's disease feel better, and are those foods doing that by changing their epigenetic switches? Yeah, I was a little bit nervous, I would confess, because it's not done very often, and there's always the danger that people think, well, you don't take your work seriously if you're doing it like this. So I had a few colleagues, and I sent them the words as I was working on them and said, what do you think? And they all thought I was marvellous, And usually it's laughter was the first response, which I think is good. And I think they were unsure where I was going to go with the music, and so they thought the words were okay and got a bit of a message across, but what about the music? So I had to go country and western. It just lent itself to it. I guess if you look at movies or on TV, usually scientists are portrayed as being pretty straight up and down, and we're so focused on our work we're not really interested in anything else. But I mean, it's interesting. You're trying to answer questions and trying to understand how the world works, and I'd like to think you can have a bit of fun doing that. Scientists can be, or can perhaps not come across so well, and often, sometimes a very good scientist is not a very personable, doesn't come across as being a fun kind of person, but because they're very good at what they do, they get asked to do interviews or something, and that sort of perpetuates the... But then again, most interviews, let's put a lab coat on this person and some safety glasses and have them, doing what they usually do and talking long words and that sort of thing. And so the scientists could work a bit harder, I think, to get their message across in a simple way, and perhaps the media could meet them halfway and help them do that. A friend of mine said we get paid to do something we'd probably do anyway. We get paid to answer these questions and try and work out how things work. Eating for your epigenes.